Okay, cool. I think we're recording now. Welcome everyone to our kombucha workshop. We are so excited to do this again. We had so much fun last time. And, we are a community that is focused on inspiring healthy living. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we're here tonight. And that's why we're so glad you've joined us, because we want to encourage you to take steps forward in your health, in the health of your family. And for those of us sharing on the call tonight, kombucha has been part of our journey. And we're also going to be sharing a little bit more of our journey with you too, a little bit more of our story and some other simple solutions that have really helped us along the way. So what we're going to do tonight is three of us will be sharing. I'll introduce the people one by one, and then at the very end, we'll leave about 15 minutes for questions. So write them down, jot them down, and if you can stick around and ask questions, we'll do that at the end. So first, I'm going to introduce Terry Rockhorst tonight. She is an amazing grandma to five little girls. They call her Nana, and she says that's her favorite role and job right now. She also has been very passionate about gardening and nature and nutrition and health for 30 years. She's written a book, and I got to read the name so I get it right, but it's called Ancient Paths to Health and Wellness from a Biblical Perspective. So I know that's encouraged so many people. She has tons of wisdom to offer us tonight, and she's going to be talking about the health benefits of kombucha, as well as sharing a little bit more of her health journey with us. So thanks so much, Terry.
Thank you, Emily, for that wonderful introduction. I love studying about health and wellness and sharing on nutrition. And as you've said, I have done it for more than 30 years. And I'm honored and blessed to be joined to such a wonderful community of people with Juice Plus. For more than, more than ever in this world, I feel we're in a time of urgency regarding health and wellness. All the more as we're hearing what's going on in the world, we need to declare that health matters and to speak on health matters. There's so much wisdom and knowledge to absorb, and so many good teachers out there who have studied and discovered the secret to a long and healthy lifestyle, that if we will hear and put into action, we can live and enjoy the abundant life while here on earth. I'm amazed at all that God has designed for us to consume and the incredible variety of flavors and nutritional benefit that each contains on their own without mankind's help. That's why I wrote the book on biblical health, the way our Creator intended us to live a vibrant, energetic life well into old age. I also have a health page called authorofhealth.com and a Facebook page called Path of Wellness. So please look me up. I want people to realize there are healthier and safer alternatives out there. This concept of doing health our Creator's way was never more confirmed to me as when I was introduced to Juice Plus by my good friend, Cindy Barnum, who I also bike ride with a lot, as she shared where this incredible company partners with organic farmers to produce some of the purest fruits and vegetables on the planet today. I heard a voice within me saying, it's like getting back to the Garden of Eden for the first time. And that vision was so clear when I saw all that they have to offer. So I'm very thankful for that, and for you and Rebecca and for all of you. Nature being allowed to run its full course from the beginning to end. Seed time and harvest is what was intended for us from the very beginning. Nutrition and health, whether out there in nature or within our bodies, is a process. It's a building up and a breaking down. And one of those processes that we're speaking about today is called fermentation. And ironically, within this same process, there is a building up, and there is also a breaking down that takes part as nature does. So it's an easy method because nature does most of the work. Let me explain a little bit. I'll explain a little bit about fermentation. Fermentation is a metabolic process in which an organism converts a carbohydrate, such as starch or sugar, into an alcohol or an acid. For example, yeast performs fermentation to obtain energy by converting sugar into alcohol. Fermentation is a metabolic process that produces chemical changes in organic substance through the action of enzymes. While this may sound complicated, it's basically very simple because we are not the ones doing the work. Like I said, nature is, and it's through the process of time. Back in the day, and for thousands of years before refrigerators and even before canning was used, fermentation was the simplest way that people could preserve their food. Today, it's done mainly for nutritional benefit, and it is very beneficial because of the creation of good bacteria, a live colony of enzymes, converting carbohydrates into lactic acid, which contain a large number of living, healthy bacteria known as probiotics. And most people are familiar with probiotics. Some of you or all of you may even take probiotics for gut health. You may also be familiar with some of the fermented foods and drinks, sauerkraut, apple cider vinegar, which I also make and I love to do that, kimchi, sourdough bread I've made, water kefir I really love, and yes, kombucha. And there's others. Kombucha has been described as the immortal health elixir by the Chinese, and originating in the Far East around 2,000 years ago. Kombucha is a beverage with tremendous health benefits, extending to your heart, to your brain, and especially your gut. This tea beverage is great for people who love the carbonation effect as soda would have, but it's much healthier, of course. I gave up soda years ago, and when I started drinking kombucha and found that it has the carbonation, I love that because really that's what I was enjoying from the soda, I think. Plus, kombucha is not sweet like soda. The culture that's used in the process in making kombucha is alive and commonly known as a SCOBY, which stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. It feeds on sugar. Some people use honey. I actually don't. I like to use raw sugar. Yet because of the process of creating good bacteria, only trace amounts of sugar is present in the tea following the fermentation process. That means very few calories for us. These good bacteria line your digestive tract and support your immune system, and they absorb nutrients and fight infection and illness. If you already eat a whole foods-based diet, drinking kombucha regularly is a great addition and benefit that you can help to maintain your peak immune health, which trickles down into an impressive number of benefits to your overall health. Some people have concerns about drinking kombucha if suffering from candida overgrowth or if they have diabetes. I actually found a really great in-depth article that I'll put in the messages below that if that happens to be a concern of yours, you can learn from. It's really good, and it explains so much about what's in there and what it does for the body and the positive. I tend to believe that through my own research and experience that kombucha has far more beneficial benefits and that it's not harmful. So thank you for sharing or for hearing and listening to my side. So now we will learn how to make kombucha, which I, by the way, have some brewing in there that I will be bottling, and the next step will be the carbonation step. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. I just really, really appreciate everything that you have to share, all your wisdom, and absolutely amazing. So My name's Emily Wicker. I didn't even share that at the beginning. I am a homeschool mom of 4 from Columbia, South Carolina. And I also have a master's in counseling. I'm just really passionate about health and nutrition and helping people live whole, full, vibrant, abundant lives. And I really just believe that our health is a huge part of that. So, and our gut health is essential. I think that's one of the big reasons I got into kombucha, is because gut health is essential to overall health. It's a big part of your immune system. And so wanted to figure out ways that I could support my family's gut health. And also, I just want to tell you a little bit of my story too. Before I even got into kombucha, I was really focused on just eating whole foods. You know, I knew the connection between nutrition and disease. That was really important to me. We were going to local farms, and I was pregnant with my 3rd child. We were still struggling. I mean, I had low energy and was just exhausted, had a son that needed a nebulizer and a daughter who had chronic ear infections, and we were in the doctor all the time for antibiotics. And of course that destroys your gut bacteria, and I knew that's not the path that I wanted to be on, but I felt at a loss. I didn't know what else to do. So that's when my mom introduced Juice Plus to me, and I became part of this healthy living community. It made sense that we were doing everything we could to get nutrition in our bodies, but we weren't getting the 7 to 14 servings, all the colors of the rainbow, fresh from the garden every day. And so adding Juice Plus, fruits and vegetables in a capsule or gummy totally changed our health picture, where it resolved all of those issues for us. My immune system balanced, my allergies went away, my son never needed a nebulizer again, my daughter's ear infections gradually healed, and she started loving fruits and vegetables. And, you know, it's just taken us a step further on our health journey. And, you know, just knowing that good nutrition makes all the difference and can help any condition improve. So then wanted to add even more to our lifestyle, and so that's why we pursued the kombucha as well. So I'm going to teach you how to make kombucha step by step today. And I did want you to know that you could put this on speaker view and you could see me bigger. So in the top of your screen, if you put it on speaker view, then you'll be able to see me on your screen larger so you can see the details. So I do something called continuous brew with my kombucha, which means I use this jar over and over again, and I do clean it, but not every time that I brew my kombucha. So this is a Sun Tea jar. I love it because the spout makes it super easy to drain, and it's probably about, I would say, it's less than a gallon, but more than a half gallon. So I don't know exactly what that means. But anyway, you can see about how big it is. And what I have now is I've drained my kombucha already. I've put it in mason jars, put the lid on tight, and stuck it in the refrigerator. And then this morning what I did was I took 4 black tea bags and 1 cup of raw sugar. Like Terry mentioned, using the raw sugar is important. And it's super simple. I just brewed 4 to 6 cups of water, I heated it, I boiled it, and then I brewed my tea. So I put my sugar in, can you see that? And then I just let it sit. I stirred it to make sure that, you know, all of the sugar was dissolved, and I had the tea bags in there, and then I just let it sit here until it cooled. It's really been sitting all day. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add it to my kombucha jar, and then I'm going to fill it up with filtered water. But before I do that, I wanna show you the SCOBY, because I actually have a friend here. Hey, say hi, Kim. Hi. There she is. Okay, so she wants to start making kombucha, so I'm going to be sharing my SCOBY with her tonight because I have too many in this jar. I don't know if you can see sort of the layer here of SCOBY. There's probably 3 or 4 good SCOBYs in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to show you guys this. I'm going to take it out, and as Terry mentioned, a SCOBY is a symbiotic relationship between a bacteria and a yeast. It eats the sugar, and so that's how it ferments your tea and turns it into kombucha. Okay, so here, can you hold the jar up actually? Okay, so this is what a SCOBY looks like. Some people think it looks really gross. It is a little gross looking, but hey, you get used to it over time, and it's so good for you. It's a little bit slimy, but every time you brew your kombucha, it is going to create another SCOBY. It's going to make another SCOBY. So you can do what I did, just peel it off. Sometimes I'll save it in the refrigerator. So in case I, if for some reason my SCOBY goes bad, which has never gone bad before, I have a backup one. A lot of times I'll just share it with friends. But with Kim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this kombucha that I have here in my mason jar that I was storing in the refrigerator. And I'm just going to pour it over her SCOBY so her SCOBY continues to have something to eat. So you've got to feed it so that it will live. It is a living organism. And then I'm going to take my tea bags here, sort of drain them out a little bit. Like I mentioned, 4 black tea bags, but you can also use, herbal tea. I know people use all different kinds of tea. And like I said, this is just 4 to 6 cups of water boiled, and then I added my tea bags and my 1 cup of sugar. Okay. Pour it in here, and I'm just gonna go over here and I'm gonna get some filtered water. And I'm gonna add the filtered water. Kim, actually, would you mind doing this?
Not at all.
So basically we're just gonna fill the jar up with filtered water. It's not an exact science. It's a little bit more of an art, but so it doesn't, have to be exact amounts, but the more SCOBYs you have, the slower time or the shorter time it takes to brew your kombucha. If you have less SCOBYs in there, it might take a little longer. Generally, it's 7 to 10 days to brew your kombucha. So I will just, once I fill this with water, I'm gonna put a paper towel on the top, a rubber band around it, make sure that nothing can get in there, but that it can breathe. It needs the air to breathe. Then I'm gonna leave it on my counter, make sure it's out of direct sunlight. Some people even put it in a cupboard or something. You're gonna leave it for 7 to 10 days. You can sort of taste it as it's going along. I know in the summer, sometimes my kombucha will brew in 5 days. So once you have a little bit of the more acidic, fizzy taste, fizzy flavor, you can sometimes smell a little bit of the yeast, and most of the sugar is gone. It's a tiny bit sweet, but not super sweet. Then's when your kombucha is ready. It might have a little fizz to it, and perfect. Okay. And then, so that's when I will drain it and put it in the refrigerator in mason jars, and I just leave the lids really tight. I don't do a second brewing or add any flavor or fizz to it, but Rebecca's going to teach us how to do that in a second so you guys can learn. And then I always make sure, because I can never remember the day I brewed my kombucha, I just write the date on this little sticky note, and I just put it on the top. And here's my rubber bands that I'm going to put around. So, like I said, it's super simple. It's not complicated at all. And so hopefully I've explained that well. And then please, I will answer questions after Rebecca shares. Rebecca Marion is our next speaker tonight, and she is a homeschool mom of 5. She's absolutely amazing. She has her own little homesteading farm where they eat a lot of produce from the land. She is a carpenter redoing her house. She is an expert in natural remedies and herbs, and so she just has so much knowledge, and she's going to share a little bit of her journey with you, and also, like I said, how to do the second fermentation to add flavor or to add fizz to your kombucha.
Thanks, Emily. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening tonight. I'm super passionate about sharing things that we can do to improve our health, and I love the simple things. If it's not simple, if it's not easy and flexible, it doesn't get done around here. So this kombucha has been wonderful for our family. Now, I had some false starts. My first couple batches of kombucha were kind of like vinegar, like apple cider vinegar, drinking it straight. So my family thought they hated kombucha at the beginning, and it took a wonderful friend sharing a fresh, very healthy SCOBY with me and teaching me about how you don't have to let it ferment quite so long, and you can use green tea and herbal tea. Well, actually, she just told me about green tea, and it leaves it a little bit sweeter and lighter flavored. And so that was something that my family could handle. So I'm really excited about this second fermentation process, because this is the way to get people who think they hate kombucha to love kombucha. and I've been able to share it with my family, and my whole extended family has, a lot of them have gotten hooked on kombucha because of this second fermentation process. And it can be as simple as you want or a little more complicated, but it really doesn't get that complicated anyway. So I'm going to share with you a few of the ways that we can do a second fermentation to add a little flavor and a little sweetness back into our kombucha. So I'm going to show you here. This is my kombucha. So this is the first kombucha. If you can all see, that's my SCOBY on top, okay? And then when this is finished, what I do is I will take the SCOBY off and put it in my new jar of tea. So I get my tea all ready and then move the SCOBY over. Then I will pop some frozen blueberries, is what I have been using a lot lately, but you can put any flavor that you like, any fruit, any herb, or like ginger. Spices are really fun. I've even heard of doing chocolate raspberry kombucha with raspberry jam and cocoa. So you could use all kinds of things to second ferment your kombucha, and that's going to leave it not super fizzy. It's going to be, it might be a little fizzy, but not much. And because I have it covered with a flour sack towel, so I still have it covered with the flour sack towel and the rubber band to let the air flow. And so that's not going to build the carbonation. Now, if you want to build carbonation in your drink, what you want to do is take a bottle with a tight fitting lid. I actually like ones that are tighter fitting than these. These are not the best, but this was a cute bottle I had. But you could just use a mason jar with a nice tight fitting lid. And what you want to do is fill it up about 3/4 of the way. And then you want to top it with whatever you want to put in it. I have blueberries in this one. You can put ginger. You can make whatever one you've seen at the store that sounds so cool. Lemons. You could just put fruit juice in it. That's one of the easiest tried and true ways to flavor your kombucha. Super, super easy. I've used these, can you see this? Root beer stevia drops. These are really fun when you do it this way. If you're using stevia or an herb or like ginger or something that doesn't have some natural sugar like the fruit juice or the actual fruit, you may want to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar to your kombucha, because again, it's the fermentation process of the kombucha eating the sugar basically is what builds the carbonation. So you keep that lid on tight, it's going to build carbonation. And you want to leave it for generally 2 to 5 days. You just kind of test it. And I would suggest being really careful when you open it, maybe covering it with a towel, especially if you leave it for a few days. But maybe just opening it just a little to burp it at a time, or checking it every couple days or every day probably to see how your carbonation is going. But once you kind of figure out how long it takes, if you kind of trust it, then you don't have to test it quite as much, as long as your temperatures don't change too much. So those are great ways to get the carbonation, with the closed lid, or non-carbonated but flavored kombucha. And then what if your family doesn't want to try the kombucha at all? So some of the ways that we love to use kombucha in more food ways are, I make kombucha popsicles. You just take a regular popsicle mold. You can get these really cheaply all over the place. And I just pour my kombucha in here, especially if it's strawberry flavored kombucha or blueberry flavored. I just pour it in there and it's strawberry popsicles or it's blueberry popsicles. They don't have to know that it's kombucha. And most kids love that. Another thing that I love to do is to make Jell-O with kombucha. And I have a really good recipe for like Jell-O jigglers, where you can puree some fruit. You use your grass-fed, I like to use grass-fed beef gelatin like this, and you just use the kombucha in place of some of the cold water. And that's another great gut health boosting option. And I like to use like the silicone Jell-O jiggler molds. Those are really fun. And then the other thing was smoothies. So if you want to make smoothies with the kombucha, you just use it in place of your water or milk or whatever liquid you were going to use. So those are some really simple ways to incorporate kombucha into your life. And as you get more kombucha in your gut, basically, it's going to help feed the good gut bacteria. It's going to help your kids and you crave the good stuff. And so I really love, just the simple things that you can make tasty can help with that. And one of the things that has really helped my family is actually the Juice Plus gummies. My husband was a super picky eater, and my kids were really having some serious gut health issues. And we started using the Juice Plus gummies in our daily diet, just giving us the consistent fruits and veggies and berries that we needed. And those fruits and veggies and berries feed your good gut bacteria. The only thing good gut bacteria eats is the fiber from fruits and veggies. And so having that as a consistent part of our diet made a huge difference in our gut health. And it took away my mom guilt. It just gave me so much hope. And my family is thriving now with all of this great nutrition, and it's easy. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I hope that you will consider adding something easy to your lifestyle that can really help you to heal from the inside out and to feel amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Becca. I just love your story, and I'm really inspired to try some of those things. Some second fermentation. I've never dove in that far. I've always just kept it super simple, but it doesn't sound complicated at all. So thank you for sharing. And I did just want to, we've all shared a little bit about how Juice Plus has been a blessing for our families. It literally is fruits and vegetables that are put like Rebecca said, in a gummy, or we have the capsules. We've got the red has 10 fruits, the green has 10 vegetables, the purple has 10 berries. If an adult gets started on the capsules, you can sponsor a child to be part of our Healthy Starts program for free. And at this time, you can also get some of our complete shakes. These have 13 grams of protein, 8 grams of fiber, completely whole foods, nutrition label. And these are amazing for gut health too, because of that fiber. That is what the good gut bacteria eats, is the plant fibers. That's why it's so important to get as much variety and quality of fruits and vegetables in our diet every day. So love these shakes. We use these for our healthy fast food every afternoon, sometimes for breakfast, and make them into energy bites and things like that. So, and the last thing I wanted to show you is our plant-based omegas. Everyone in our country mostly is deficient in omegas. We need this for our brain health and skin and heart and joints. And so we add this to our diet as well and are so grateful for it. It's really helped with mental clarity and also focus and emotional control for my daughter. So thankful y'all are here today. I just want to open it up for questions now. I'm actually going to stop the recording, and then I am going to unmute everyone. And if you have a question, feel free to ask.